What is up, everybody? I am the Fool, and I am making a Minecraft server network from scratch. This is part 3 of the series. Last week we worked on the item system and the insurance system. Okay, let me demonstrate what we worked on last week. So I have some game items here, and we have an insure command, which will be you can walk up to an NPC later and insure your items with a specific chance. So like, let's say you die, this sword would have a 100% chance return, and that would of course cost a lot of your gold to do. So let's say I want to insure these iron boots. I can do insure and then give a chance. Let's do 50%. And then let's do this one, 80. And then, yeah, let's go into a game and see if I die, if I keep these or not. Okay, so we're joining a game. I made a little dumb little waiting room. And now we're in the game. Little spoiler alert over there, but let me go reset real quick and see if I keep my insured items. So this sword should stay, and then this chest plate has a high chance of staying, and this is a 50-50, so let's see if we get lucky on the boots. So everything will return to our stash. Yeah, we got everything back. We got pretty lucky with the boots. Alright, now I will demonstrate the economy system I came up with. It's a physical currency system, kind of like Windcraft. Okay, so usually the player will walk up to a banker to exchange their funds into the required amount. But first, let me give myself some currency. I'll give us the highest amount possible. So 1 gold block is worth 64 bars. I'll give myself 64 bars, and then 1 bar is worth 64 nuggets. Well, I guess I call them coins here. 64. So yeah, that's the progression right there. So if I do /banker, so this will be a NPC eventually. He would walk up to it and it would open this GUI. And then within this GUI, you can either break up your currency into the smaller amounts, or you can combine them into the higher quantities. And then this button here will compact all and make them into their highest possible quantity. Like, it'll combine these into the highest possible. Which I think, if I were to click this, it would make 1 bar and then another block. Yep. So let me break it by left clicking. So yeah, that block turned into 64, 64 again. And then I can break it up again, these little bars into little nuggets. And then I did a little inventory check, so you don't lose your items if your inventory is full. So let's compact all again. And yeah, there we go. The reason why I'm using physical currency is because I think it would be fun to have the players have to bring in money into the game and risk their money. And like, there'll probably be NPCs in the game itself that you have to spend money on, like maybe like a secret market, like black market, I don't know. So yeah, let's go on to the next thing I worked on. Might as well just bring in my mass quantities of currency into the game. So let's start a server, and when it starts, we will be back. Alright, the game's starting in 5 seconds. And there we go. The lobby's kind of peeking through there. So alright, this is the second thing I worked on, which is some chests. They have a nice little text display above it, denoting the rarity of the chest. We got pretty unlucky rolls here. Open for a 5-star. Anyways, you can open a chest, it opens the GUI. Some coins and some crude iron boots. There's a little take all button here. And I make the chest disappear here. I had some testers tell me that that's kind of odd. So I'll probably replace it with like some sort of maybe custom block. I don't know what an empty chest would look like. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave it in the comments. So yeah, let me just loot all these chests, see what we get. Well, that's pretty lucky. And just some gold. Yeah, I haven't finalized the loot tables, so that I want more to be in these chests, like maybe some more gold. They're kind of predictable and boring. So there we go. What is that? I don't know why that keeps changing. Anyways, so we got our stuff here, and then we put it in our stash. And then we go back into a game, do it again, try to get better loot and stuff. I haven't done the enchanting system yet. That's going to be next on my list. Is some like, you're going to walk up to this well, and then you're going to right click on it, and then use your gold to enchant your weapons with cool enchantments. And that's kind of the main game loop, is trying to see how powerful you can get, and then lose it all in the dungeon, do it all over again. Some sort of meta progression and maybe market system for players to trade items. I think it would be kind of cool. And then these two things over here are going to be different entrances to the map. Right now they're just placeholders, but they'll probably be like a cool gate or like entrance to a cave or something. And then when you walk into one, you'll be transported into the world. Okay, so let me go over my banker GUI, which I think is a good explanation on how I go about making my GUIs in general. So we have a public static open for, which we can just call and pass in a player. Then we have a constructor. It's private because this is what's instantiating. It's going to have 3 rows in the title of banker, and then we're going to populate it with the buttons and items and stuff. So we have a bunch of filler items here that we're setting. We just loop through the whole inventory and just set just some gray stained glass paint. And then we go on to setting the denomination items, which is that gold bar and block, which allows the players to break the items or combine them up. So slot 12 will be the bar, and then slot 14 will be the block. And I'm doing a for loop here because we could add more currencies in the future, and I just want the function to be flexible just in case I add more. So we're going to set the slot number in this index here, and then we're going to build the denomination item for whatever index we're at. And then whenever a player left clicks, it calls this function, and then whenever they right click, it calls this function. So the build denomination item function takes in the currency denomination, and then we get the count that they have, that the player has in their inventory, and then we see if the denomination has a lower denomination or a higher denomination. So like the gold bar would have the lower be gold coin, and then the higher be gold block. And then according to these two values here, we will set the relative lore line as needed. Now the little more complex button here, set compact item, we just build on, it's not that complicated for this part, but the compact all logic was a little bit of math. So we get the total coins that the player has by just scanning their inventory, and then we're going to set slot 22, which is the bottom middle, make it a chest, just add some name and just some stuff describing what the player should do. Then we run this magic function called compact all. So we get the total coins in the player's inventory, which is using my util function, scan currency. We don't really have to worry about that too much. If it's 0, then there's nothing to compact. And then we're going to loop through all the denominations and then remove them all, so that we have room for the new things we're giving them, which is the compacted materials. Of course, the player it'll just look like everything got compacted, but we have to remove the old stuff first. And now this little magic function here, breakdown, is where the main math comes into play. So this function is kind of like making change at a store, and this is the cashier. So let's say we had 5,000 coins, we want to break into their smallest denominations. So we're going to do, so in this first loop, we're going to do 5,000 divided by 496. This is one block. We get one block with a remainder of 904. And then 904, we're on the next denomination, the next iteration in the for loop. We get 14 bars with 8 left, 8 coins left. And then 8 divided by 1 is just 8 coins. So our result from this function, it's always storing it in the result right here after every iteration. So it's going to be one block, 14 bars, and 8 coins. And that is what 5,000 total coins is worth. So yeah, that's pretty much all for this video. Next video, I was probably going to work on the NPC system and the item enchanting, but I was also torn between that and making a basic monster system. So if you have any preferences, feel free to leave it into the comments which one I should work on next. I feel like a monster system would be more interesting, but the item system has to eventually get done. But at the same time, I don't have anything to fight with these items, so maybe a monster system would be good to do first. I don't know. Anyways, thank you for watching, and see ya in the next video.